roadmap, I'll begin by attacking the arguments made by my opponent in his last speech, and then I'll go on to give voters. So my opponent's first argument against my case was basically that money and support does not outweigh the injustice against animals. However, he ignored my argument later in the speech that the UN was created to help humans. The UN was created to help, so if the UN was created to help humans, then Japan pulling funding means that the UN has helped 600 dolphins at the expense of who knows how many humans. And seeing as I don't think that we should judge dolphins in the same way as humans, then that doesn't seem entirely fair. He also said that the UN has a big global power, but if you look at a UN resolution, it doesn't actually have any legal power. There's no legal obligation to follow a UN resolution, and if there's no legal obligation, such as in the UDHR, which is arguably the most important thing ever done by the UN, which is seen by some and still violated by a lot of countries, and it's seen as just guidelines by most countries, and it's still violated by a lot of them. So really, if the UDHR is violated by countries, then there's no reason for the UN to just waltz in and tell Japan that they should stop the hunt, but they're not legally required to do so. So there's no point in doing that. So if they were to do that, if they were just to make this resolution, then I feel that two things would happen. First, Japan would not do anything about the dolphin hunt. They'd just continue with it. And secondly, the world would be reassured that something is being done, and organizations such as the WDC, which could actually have an effect and cease the dolphin hunt, won't be doing it because they'll be wanting to pursue other things because in everyone's mind, the dolphin hunt will have been dealt with. So furthermore, my opponent entirely missed my point on the argument about stopping the slaughter by saying that Japan will never stop the slaughter. My argument was stating that if the UN or even the WDC or anyone is going to act, then they shouldn't stop the hunt entirely. They should just stop the slaughter because, first of all, it's a lot more likely to work. Japan is a lot more likely to comply when basically fishermen aren't losing their livelihoods, because the fishermen who are fishing in the Taiji hunt make most of their money off of the dolphins that they're selling into captivity. In fact, the dolphins that they don't sell into captivity are getting them a fraction of the amount of a dolphin that they get to sell into captivity trained. That's worth about $200,000, and all of the dolphins that they kill total are worth maybe $40,000. So one dolphin in captivity and alive is worth a lot more than several dolphins, and so they wouldn't be losing their livelihood, and therefore Japan has less of a reason to disagree. And also, the only thing that can save dolphins from humans is other humans. And so what I said about humans being the dolphins' biggest threat, dogs or cats aren't going to rise up against humans and help save the dolphins. Humans are going to save dolphins. And the best way to get humans to be sympathetic towards dolphins is to have those shows in captivity. And so yes, it may be bad for the dolphins in captivity to be in captivity, but it's better for the dolphins as a species. So on to my voters. My first voter is that my own case still basically stands. I just proved that most of my arguments are still quite reasonable, and my opponent's case is not. He did not spend any time in his last speech re-attacking his own, or re-defending his own. And then my plan is also the most beneficial to dolphins if it came down to a plan, because it's not removing them from captivity, which is, as I said, very important. And also, if the UN were to act, it would not make much of a difference, whereas if the WDC was to act, or if they're just going to try to stop the slaughter, then that would make a difference. And so thank you both for an excellent round, and I hope that you have good luck in the rest of the tournament.